before I introduce my son, who I'm very proud of, obviously, I'm also joined by my entire family, my wife Lisa, Lakewood High School teacher, and my daughter Isabel, student at UC Irvine. And of course, last but not least, I would like to introduce you to my son, Edan Cangro, who's going to be your keynote speaker today.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
My name, you already introduced me, my name is Edan Cangro. I'm a senior at Lakewood High School, and I'm proudly a student with a disability. I'm not ashamed to share that part of my identity. It's shaped my life, a life filled with challenges and countless obstacles to overcome. My story begins back in preschool. My teacher noticed I wasn't meeting early childhood developments. At 4 years old, I didn't give it much thought. My focus was mainly on when recess was. But ignorance truly was bliss for me, until it wasn't. As my parents worked with me, with my kindergarten teacher to figure out why I was falling behind, I began to notice things too. Meetings with specialists started, assessments began, and suddenly I was being removed from my classroom. That for me was the hardest part. When you're taken out of class, your peers notice, and you notice the moments you've missed with them. It left me feeling like I was constantly playing social catch-up, which only added to my growing anxiety. When I was in the classroom, I faced other challenges. I dreaded group work. It was like being put on an island where everyone spoke a language I didn't know. It was extremely intimidating. I didn't want my peers to know I struggled with reading and even spelling basic words. School was difficult, and comments or concerns from classmates hit me hard. Kindergarten was rough. Unfortunately, first and second grade weren't much easier. I worked hard, but I was still falling behind, academically and socially. I couldn't understand why it took me so much longer to finish work or why my friends acted the way they did. It felt like I was being in a void. I was surrounded by people, yet I was still so alone. In third grade, things began to move even faster. Every day there were more assessments, more pullouts to speech classes, more homework, more social anxiety, and more expectations. All of these became obstacles, each tumbling down onto my path. The more I tried to venture, the harder it got. I wanted so badly to be free of these constant reminders of how I was different or disabled compared to my classmates. One person in my life I strived to emulate was my older sister. She seemed to have it all together. Where I struggled to hold on to my schoolwork and friends, my sister appeared to be floating through life effortlessly. Unlike me, she was not brought to tears every night from spending hours at the dining room table doing homework with my parents. She did not need to be tutored. She did not have any troubles navigating friendships. Although looking back, I now know she had to overcome many hurdles in her journey. However, in my childhood, all I wanted was that kind of life. I was so jealous, however, my admiration for her outweighed those other feelings. In a way, she acted as a guide to help me overcome the barriers I have faced throughout my life. She helped me see that I could achieve whatever I set out to accomplish, no matter my challenges. As a student with disabilities, my parents would go through great lengths to make sure I was equipped with all the tools I might need. This became apparent at my IEP meetings. According to my parents, my third grade IEP meeting was emotional, as the group tried to create a plan to help me. I was at a crucial time in my education when retention decisions were brought up. The gravity of the meeting was lost to me, but not my parents. Ultimately, the meeting was pivotal, as a decision was made that would forever alter my life course. I was at the end of my third grade school year, and instead of feeling good about the summer ahead, my parents began dropping me off at some lady's house I didn't know. The time I spent with her was filled with me taking tests and questionnaires, which was exhausting. Little did I know that this would lead to the most bittersweet summer of my life. With the results of the tests I took, my parents enrolled me into an intensive learning program designed to jumpstart my education levels to match my age group and to build tools I would use to learn in my future. This led to me working one-on-one with an educational specialist for 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. During the day, I was allowed only two 10-minute breaks. And all of this would happen in the summer, my summer. Each minute was intense and jam-packed with new goals, learning, and expectations. Restroom breaks were short, and all I could think about was the 10-minute break where I could play tetherball, which I loved at the time. Everything about this experience was uncomfortable. But it wasn't until much later in life that I could appreciate the absolute gift that this work gave me. I would 100% do it all over again, as it provided me with a foundation for my future. It instilled in me a strong work ethic and tools I needed to move forward with confidence. You see, in those IEP meetings, I would be asked if I wanted to do less work. My parents and teachers would say, just do half of the assignment, to allow me more free time and bring down my anxiety. This was a part of the IEP meeting where accommodations were offered, shortened assessments, extra time, fewer expectations. But there was just one problem. I didn't want less. I wanted to do it all. I saw my sister doing everything, I saw my classmates doing everything, and I wanted that too. Not because I had something to prove, but because I wanted to be seen as an equal. To me, doing half of the work didn't feel like support. It felt like a spotlight showing just how different I was. So I pushed. I worked harder. I refused to fall behind. I didn't want easy. I wanted equal. That summer was challenging and not my favorite childhood memory. But I tell you what, I didn't know it then, but it changed me for the better. Before 4th grade, I was so excited to be back in school. It was scary, but I went in with a newfound confidence. If I could survive the summer program and hopefully bridge the gap in my education, maybe this year would be better academically. And it was. Not only did I still have the same work ethic, but schoolwork became more manageable. It was like I woke up and was ready for the climb ahead, wearing the right shoes, having the proper robes, and being fully hydrated to make it to the top of the mountain of the school year. 5th grade began, and like most transitions, I experienced a wave of confusion, excitement, and fear because middle school was around the corner. Anxiety of the unknown was getting to me, but something changed. In the 5th grade, my teachers nominated me for the Most Inspirational Student Award. This was a big deal, dinner downtown with the mayor and a celebrity, with hundreds of people. Even though I didn't fully understand what this award meant back then, for the first time, I was recognized for something good. I was so used to being behind and people telling me what I needed to do, that getting an award helped me a lot. I didn't feel so alone and behind. It gave me hope that everything I've done wasn't for nothing. Middle school began. I had more classes, more teachers, more social hurdles, but it was okay because I gained something called grit. I had it, which meant that I had a newfound work ethic and would never cut myself short. Having a good attitude helped others, and a growing work ethic became my superpowers, giving me the confidence to be the person I am today. Middle school for me was defined by the beginning of self-advocacy, and it became one of the most essential parts of my being. I've always wanted to be independent and equal, so the ability to advocate for myself has become very important. I told myself, I am my own person and will speak for myself. I wanted to be respected and seen as an adult so badly that if I needed something, I would talk to my teachers directly. Even though I had attended my AP meetings in the past, I didn't feel like a contributor, but now they became my meetings, a place where my opinion and feedback mattered. I mattered, and I was listened to by a team of supportive people. And for the first time, I felt independent and had control over my future. This made me incredibly optimistic. And from the beginning, I was taught about my disabilities. I learned all about autism and my special learning disabilities, which is great, but in order to move forward, you have to understand the mountain you're climbing. Yes, I accept I have autism and a learning disability, and this is a part of me. This is a part of who I am, but understanding how it affects me in every aspect of my life is an entirely different story. You see, climbing a mountain is one thing, but when you have disabilities, learning to navigate all the other obstacles to reach the top is extra challenging. Having to answer questions like, is there a trail to follow? Are there wild animals to contend with? Will I have support when bad weather hits? Navigating life when you have a disability can be challenging and sometimes feel like you are climbing into the unknown. Everybody's mountain is different and unique, but developing the self-awareness to acknowledge that you have a disability is the first step. After that, the most important part is preparing for the journey ahead by not ignoring the mountain, facing the rough terrain, and never backing down. Understanding my needs, gathering the correct tools, surrounding myself with the right people, and having the proper mindset are all things that help my journey into the next part of my mountain climb. To help you visualize my thoughts, like any story, it took time for me to recognize and accept certain parts of myself, and even longer learn how to use them. Over time, I realized that my disabilities would not hold me back from the success I know I'll achieve. But this mindset didn't come easily. It took time for me, and many years of people encouraging me to take it one step at a time to accept my abilities that fostered my search for growth, and to never give up easily. That's why I survived and even thrived in middle school. I pushed myself to achieve more than I was expected. However, some things that make me anxious will always be with me. Once high school began, it was yet another transition into the unknown. Freshman year was a struggle. I worked so hard, but I could feel myself falling. Once sophomore year began, I connected with the Workability 1 program, and everything began to change. With the Workability support, my journey into self-advocacy and self-determination took off. I still struggled, but I now have a good handle on my academics and social life. I joined cross-country and have friends who understand me. I'm still climbing, facing new obstacles on the horizon, called work. Job, career, college, graduation. Once again, I knew I needed to call on my work ethic, good attitude, and self-advocacy. This was not easy, as fear and anxiety are my constant companions, and they are always at work trying to stop me from climbing. Miss Bachman, the workability counselor at my school, taught me about career skills, and it took it a step further, extending my services to include a paid internship by me starting with a job at Lakewood Rental, a party supply store. I was terrified. Questions ran through my mind. Will I remember directions? Will I say the wrong things? What if I mess up? Will they like me? I did make mistakes. I forgot directions. I said the wrong things, but in the end, I survived and ended up making friends that I still see today, as well as memories of times with my coworkers that I would cherish forever. Miss Bachman provided services that forever changed my life as they allowed me to grow and mature immensely. Programs like Workability have paved the way for me as a student with a disability to thrive. The key to building confidence is experience, doing the work. While my old friends' fear and anxiety have not completely disappeared, I have learned that I can succeed thanks to the opportunities and support I received from Workability. After I completed my internship with Lakewood Rental, I worked 2 other jobs, a bookstore and Wiener Schnitzel. Looking back, I would not have thought this possible just 3 years ago, but with each job came new challenges, growth, and confidence. Workability didn't stop there. My counselors has also helped me with the applications and resume and exploring career interests and post-secondary pathways. When you combine your superpowers with self-advocacy and a service like Workability, no mountain is beyond your ability to get to the top. So I say this to you. Thank you all so much for everything you do to help and support students with disabilities, such as a student like me. Thank you.
Right?
What a fantastic film!
We can, if you guys are interested, we can open it up to some questions for Eden that you might have, or even Lisa and I as parents going through this process with him all these years. I thought, honestly, I'm